Anytime a contractor is doing work, they're allowed to provide a mechanics lien on the property that's being worked on, and that's what these individuals did to make certain that they are going to be paid. It's not unusual to have a mechanics lien done on a project.
No, the contract is to make sure that they pay. This is a situation where they have not been paid.
Councilman Stevens, additionally, they have noted in this report that some of the monies they will be receiving will pay out at least 4 vendors an outstanding amount of $12,668.
So one of those vendors could be the individual that submitted that mechanics lien. Haven't seen it.
Mr. City Attorney, so the significance of a mechanics lien is, what is the exposure to the city as far as payment is concerned? Since they have listed the city on the mechanics lien, one of our parks, just exactly how does a mechanics lien work when the contractor has not been paid?
The first item that's going to happen is to see whether or not they are paid. If they are paid, then the city will not have any obligation at all. If they are not paid, then the city will have an obligation to pay some of that amount of money.
Oh,
Even if we're identified?
The indemnification is between the city and Sportsman Little League. That would be something that the city would have to do against Sportsman Little League to get that done. But yes, that would be covered through that item.
so the city itself would have to pay if Sportsman's Little League does not pay?
Council members, somewhat similar to what I just mentioned, is the answer to that would be yes, but there is an indemnification as to what the mayor and Ms. Barnes has stated. If there is one, then the city would seek indemnification from Sportsman's Little League.
Is it possible for us to increase the amount of money that is being withheld in the event that contractors are not paid for this dollar amount on this mechanics lien until we're able to ascertain whether or not these individuals have not been paid? Understand, this is for $53,000, $55,000. This individual is saying that they have not been paid.
That's what the mechanics lien that you provided me tonight states, yes.
So could we withhold a $55,000 portion of the $75,000 we're here to release tonight, to ensure until we're able to determine the validity of this mechanics lien?
There's a
and
few
our
different
exposure?
issues that you're speaking of, is that after we pay, what balance would be left, Ms. Barnes? $25,000. The city still has an indemnification clause in the MOU, or Memorandum of Understanding, which may cover the balance of it. To answer your first question, yes, if the city council wants to not pay it all, or only allow a certain dollar amount, that's what is up to the city council to do.
Okay. So then I would move then that we're withholding 20,
There's already a motion on the
oh, excuse me.
If you want to ask for amendments, you can do that.
Colleagues, I'd like to ask for an amendment that we expand the amount of money that we're withholding, the $25,000, expand that to encompass the $55,000. I think that would be the most prudent method for us to travel in this situation.
You're asking to expand it from 25,000 to 55,000?
Expand it to 55,000, yes.
Can you make her a motion? We have to.
So
Oh,
make
so-
a motion? I did. So are you interested in an amendment?
I'd like to comment.
Yeah.
Before what is being proposed by my colleague is reduce the value of the fundings that we are going to authorize to complete current projects that is in our parks. And now, if we hold the funds, those projects will not be completed. So I'm concerned about that when it's a discrepancy between the Sportsman's Little League and the contractor, not the city. So, and also it's their money that we've been holding. So I reach out to the city attorney's office, since we have a hold harmless agreement, then in turn, I want to find out how does that play when there's a third party that is involved that we as a city did not engage in dialogue or commitment for that services and product being rendered. Can you expand?
The situation is that work is being completed or done according to the mechanics lien, up to $55,000. That's owed to a certain vendor, BSI Sports Turf Management. You are correct that the company or agency that may have contracted with BSI is Sportsman Little League, but because of the benefits is being provided to the city, and it's the city's property, that's where the mechanics lien would be attached to. The mayor is correct that if we do have an indemnification clause, or like you stated, hold harmless on the memorandum of understanding, then the city would have to go to Sportsman Little League to make certain that that is paid.
Okay, so I echo with my colleague in District 1 and rescinding my motion and would wait for a new motion to be made.
I have a comment before,
Okay.
before I withdraw my second. In order for a mechanics lien to be put into by this particular contractor, what particular documents does he need to file?
The documents that he has seem to be sufficient, but one of the things that's lacking at this time is that it has not been recorded. Once he records it, there'll be a certain time that the city has to do something or that they'll get paid. It's not unusual to have a mechanics lien put on a property
Yeah.
when any work is being done.
Let me tell you, we've been told we can't hold the trust fund money. Okay, we've been told that. Meanwhile, our parks are still unfinished, okay? And the goal here is to finish the parks, as we've spoken here for the last few weeks. We've given our colleagues the courtesy of extending it. And if we don't do it today, these parks will still be unfinished, okay? And that's the big goal here. Now, the alleged $55,000 worth of work has already been done, okay? If this guy doesn't get paid, he can already put a lien on our property. He could already put a lien against the city, correct? Correct. Doesn't matter. And we cannot use the trust fund money to pay for it, even if we wanted to.
Correct.
So there's no purpose in holding the trust fund money. We can't use it to make that payment.
The motion that was made, yes, the answer to your
Correct.
question is correct.
Correct. So my point, I'm trying to make the point that those are two different items that we're dealing with.
I don't agree with you. I'll comment when you're finished.
I want to hear what the city
Mr.
attorney is
When
saying.
you're finished.
Yeah, but my point is that these are two different items, and we seem to be mixing them together. Nothing gets accomplished regarding the $55,000 if we don't pass this item or don't transfer the funds to the Sportsman Little League. We don't have the right, Mr. Fields, if you would allow me to speak to Mr.
Mr. Campos, he's trying to address you.
I'm sorry.
So what's going on is that even if we have the lien, there is no scenario that would allow us to use that money that we're holding in trust to pay for that debt.
That is correct.
And so that's the point I'm trying to make. Meanwhile, our parks are unfinished, and we're trying to adopt this item so that we can have them finished, okay? And it's time we move on. That's the short version. Because even though it may be described that if we move forward, we're allowing someone to get away with it and we're putting the hook on the city for $55,000, that's inaccurate. Because if this lien has any value whatsoever, the hook is already on the city. Am I correct?
No.
The situation with the mechanics lien would be between the city and Sportsman
Exactly.
Little League.
And it exists whether or not we do the item. And if we don't do the item and we still are holding the money in trust, we still cannot use it to pay for that debt.
If I believe that what you're saying, I agree with what you're saying, is that the money that's being held in trust is supposed to be provided to Sportsman Little League.
Period.
Yes.
Period.
But-
So that's my point here. And what we're doing is we're mixing the two things up. And in doing so, the damage that we are creating to our parks is the fact that unfinished fields exist. Now, personally, I feel like this council has been patient in terms of allowing all of us equally to research the item. This is what we've come down to. This is it. Okay? And we don't know what kind of agreement even a person, the contractor had with Sportsman. If they expanded the work and it's not in writing, you know, we don't know. So the bottom line is that we're making a choice based on transferring the funds in order to complete our fields. That's what we're doing tonight. So those are my comments, and I'm ready to move forward.
I wanna speak.
Mr. Franklin, did you withdraw the
Hold on
thing?
1 second, Councilwoman. Hold on 1 second. Look, Mr. Franklin withdrew his motion, so.
So I'd like to
so-
speak.
Hold on.
Prior to another motion, if I may.
Well, why prior to another motion?
Because
if the
three
mo-
people have spoken, I'd like to speak, and then if somebody wants to make another motion, go ahead.
But there's nothing to speak to, there's no motion.
No, this item is still on the
Coun-
agenda. I want to speak to the item on the agenda.
Councilwoman, you will, but there's no motion.
There doesn't
on-
have to be a motion. I wish to speak on the item prior to. I'd like to give some
Pri-
input.
Prior to a motion?
Yeah. There's still an item on the agenda under consideration by this body,
Okay.
Mayor, and I would like to speak to it.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Thank you. Actually, I couldn't disagree more. There was no one on this body suggested that the city utilize these funds to pay a bill. No one suggested that. So that's completely erroneous misperception you're putting out to people in the audience.
You're using it
No
as
one
punishment.
suggested. What they suggested was that Sportsman's Little League take care of their obligations. Not that we use their money to pay their bill. Nobody suggested that. Now, it's my understanding that that the field right now that's left in a situation whereby the city might be liable would be Rogers Park, where they've dug up something. Is there another field left in that kind of condition, or is it just at that park? Ms. Park?
Rogers Park is currently the only field dug up, and then at Darby Park, they still need to complete the scorer's booth.
Okay, but that's not a liability issue. Do you see it as a dangerous situation, the way it's left right now, or?
It's left in a condition that needs to be addressed. It's not a condition that should just sit there.
No, I understand that. I'm not talking about into eternity. I'm talking about a dangerous situation. It's my feeling that at Rogers Park, it is a situation that needs to be rectified immediately.
If I had to choose between the two, they're both urgent and they need to be addressed.
Okay, well, the point is this. I asked the question, the liability. If we've got a field dug up, it's a liability issue. I'm concerned about the liability issue. And what I would like to suggest to my colleagues is that a $55,000 lien that eventually we're on the hook for because it's our property, and we're being told that to recoup those, we have to sue the Little League? That's ridiculous. We don't want to sue the Little League. But what we do want, we have expectations that they're good managers of the money we provide to them to provide the services that they tell us they're going to provide for X amount of dollars. It appears they've not been on budget. It appears they've not been on budget. So the point is this. I believe at this time right now we should be releasing the amount of money to fix the field at Rogers Park so that it gets fixed. And according to this budget, that's $16,000. And I think that that money should be released immediately so they can fix that. But with regard to these other issues, and it's not about holding these things off to satisfy members of the body. It's about a group comes to us and they say, we're going to do A, B, C, D for X amount of dollars in, say, 60 days. 18 months later, they haven't done it. They're behind budget. We have a lien filed for $55,000. It's irresponsible of us to say, well, we're going to give you all this money, then we're going to be on the hook for the $55,000. I don't think so.
You're expanding
Uh,
your role? You're expanding
excuse-
your role over
Okay,
the
okay,
trust?
wait, you guys, let's not talk back and forth, just please.
No, you can, it's not about talking back and forth. It's about asking him not to interrupt me in my time. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
guys stop talking back and forth.
And the point is, you believe we should release the $16,000 immediately so that they can rectify the fields at Rogers Park to get them in a position so the city doesn't have any liability. With regard to this lien, I believe that that does require closer scrutiny by staff, by our legal office with regard to our obligation, meaning I don't think there's anybody who wants to give $55,000 of general fund money on a project where it wasn't supposed to be and where it's not budgeted just because someone didn't manage well what they were doing. And staff, Mr. Fields, I think needs to go back and speak again with sportsmen to see how is this $55,000 mechanics lien going to be taken care of. That's their obligation right now. It's on our property, but it's their obligation. But I do believe we should release the $16,000 to fix Rogers Park. And if there was an inherent dangerous situation at Darby Park, I think we should consider that as well. But Rogers Park, apparently, from my understanding, definitely is that. So I would move that we release the $16,000 this evening and have legal still look at this mechanics lien and let us know how does that affect us, who has to pay it, what are the parameters, because I don't think anybody on this body wants to sue Sportsman's Little League. However,
I'll second that motion.
however, they have an obligation to perform just like anyone who does business with the city. They have an obligation to perform. They made a commitment, and they have all these other commitments. How can they pay the $55,000 lien and do the other work they have before us? I'm just saying, I want staff to rectify this and bring it back and something, a little better understanding. So my motion would be to release the $16,000 immediately this evening to get that work done and completed, and have staff bring back the parameters with regard to this mechanics lien, talk it over with the with Sportsman's Little League, find out the future work, so we can have a more realistic vision of what they plan to do with the rest of the money and take care of their legal obligations so that the taxpayers of this community don't have to pick up the tab.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to offer my second onto Ms. Dunlap's motion.
A couple quick comments. Mr. Campos, we hold the money in trust, the $75,000, it's in trust to us for them. So if you hold money in trust for somebody and you find out that they've had a lien placed against them,
It's not against them, it's against you.
could you, Councilman Dunlap, I understand things very well. They've had a lien placed against them with us secondarily because the work was done on our property. It wouldn't matter. You couldn't force them. We couldn't force them to spend it to satisfy the lien anyway. Is that right?
That's correct. Ultimately, the money that's held in trust will have to be released to the sportsman.
Right. Ultimately, it will be. Now, then it comes down to an issue of fundamental fairness between the two parks. One park has had its work done. The lien is going to be there regardless. We're on the hook regardless. And sportsmen, since they've indemnified us, they're on the hook to us. Is that right? Okay. Is the filing of a lien dispositive? Does that mean that a court has found that we owe that money?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so this is similar to someone filing a lawsuit that says they're owed money, and then we take an action for an unproven claim to delay the repairs on a park on the other side of town. In essence, that's what we'd be doing, saying someone says that somebody owes them money, and the work was done on your property, so in the end, you owe us money, and now, for that unproven claim, we delay the work to be done expeditiously in another side of town. That's in effect what we would be doing by withholding the amount to totally complete Rogers Park.
I agree with what you're saying, Mayor, but at this time, there's no even a lawsuit filed or any claim that's been filed with this paper with the county recorder's office. So it's
Okay.
a little premature.
Okay, so now you're going even further. You're saying we don't even have a filed claim against the city that you know of?
Correct.
Okay.
Nor has it been filed with the county recorder's
Oh,
office,
okay.
which is another office.
Oh, okay, all right, so it's not even a legally filed document?
No.
Okay, all right, that's significant. Councilman Franklin?
Comment to the motion. So I just want a yes or no, council, city attorney, that the city of Inglewood is holding $100,772.17 as a pass-through for Sportsman's Little League.
Yes, it's held.
And so when they are calling, that they're calling down on their money, we are obligated to oblige them because we are now impregnating ourselves with exposure of additional liability. We have the mechanics lien, which a colleague brought before us from District 1 regarding this issue. But we also have another issue, and that is the contractors that Sportsman's Little League has already embraced to do the work with a sunset date and time of completion, also with the date specifically for the benefit of our community, that it's going to be completed. We don't move forward on the projects, we're now going to be exposed to additional liabilities where we had the opportunity to do our legal obligation, our due diligence of passing through their money to them for them to complete the project on city property. Am I correct?
That was a long way of saying, yes, the money that's held in trust should be given to Sportsman Little League.
Okay.
And yes, there should be separate as to any obligations or liability of the city.
All right.
All right.
Call for the vote on, we'll have to call for the vote on the motion. Count.
So, Mr. Stevens, are you removing the motion that you had? Are you taking that
There
back?
was no second on his.
No, I think Councilwoman Dunlap seconded.
Councilwoman Dunlap made a motion. I
And
second her
Councilman-
motion
I
that
got that. I'm just trying to
$16,000
clear something. I
would be,
got all that.
would be applied to Rogers, to complete Rogers immediately, and then we would hold the $55,000.
I'm asking you to withdraw your motion, the one from the 25 to
no second on
50,000.
There was no second
I'm still
on that.
asking him to withdraw it.
Oh, well, I'll
please.
withdraw it.
Thank you. Okay. Councilmember Stevens? And this is for the 16,000.
Well, I would just like to ask, Mayor, would you like to hear from the owner of the company? I see he's
Oh,
here.
no.
No? Okay.
No, I'm not right
I'm
now.
going to abstain. I'm going to abstain.
You're gonna abstain?
Oh, for the.
This is for the
This-
16,000.
Oh, excuse me.
Immediately.
Motion
I'm
that you
sorry.
seconded.
I'm sorry. Most definitely, yes. Aye.
Okay, thank you. Dunlap.
Aye.
Morales?
No.
Franklin?
No.
Mayor Buds?
No.
Mayor, I'd like to restate my motion by the recommendation of the staff that we also authorize the transfer of the 75,000.
Second.
Oh, comment.
Councilwoman Dunlap.
Yes, I want, since there has been this mechanics lien, I would request a closed session at the next meeting with regard to learning exactly how this affects the city with regard to this lien or our obligation. I don't believe there's anybody in this body who wants to sue Sportsman's Little League. However, it is apparently an obligation that we may have incurred, or I should say a liability. So I want further investigation done in that. And actually, if I had my choice, Mayor, I would ask the person who filed the lien, who's in the audience, to come up and address this body to respond to questions. But you are the chair. You've chosen not to have them. But I think they might be able to shed some light on this.
Councilman.
Yes, I just would like to ask you also.
Well, hold on one second. I will allow the individual to come up.
And may I get a copy of it, council member? I
You
wasn't
should
given
have
one.
You didn't have one?
No.
Okay. I'll get, I guess,
Maybe after this
Staff
meeting.
can-
I don't have a
yeah.
copy.
Sure, you can have mine.
Sir, we now, this is irregular. If you want to speak, please come
If you like
forward.
to speak, yeah.
My name is Philip Bowers. I'm the owner of BSI. The situation is, when the project started, it was priced at $22,000. From the time we started the project till it was finished, there was a number of changes that were done. I attempted to keep up with the changes as they were going along, and once we completed what we were agreed to do, and I submitted that amount, then I was told that they weren't going to pay it because it was too much. But I have documented, receipts, invoices, all that stuff showing the work that I did, what was paid for, the money they did pay me. And in addition to that, there was some subs under me. The guy that put in the fencing, the backstops, he's owed money. The money that the original 2 checks that were given to me first, they went straight to the fence. BSI didn't get money for what they were doing maybe 4 months into the project. The first couple of checks went to other vendors or other contractors. So at this point, I would like an opportunity just to, maybe not today because we don't have the time, but I'd like the opportunity just to show what work was done, what was paid and what wasn't paid. And then that's how we got the balance that we're talking about now.
I'd like to ask him, the $55,000 lien is for what?
It's a combination of the money that's due BSI for the work we did. There's material vendors for the sand, infield mix, mound clay, the fence work that was done. This is what that 55 totals is
Okay.
for those different.
The city attorney says that your lien hasn't been filed as yet with the county. Is that true?
I was under the impression it was.
Is there a county
not-
seal on it?
I don't see it on the
It would have a county seal if it had been filed. So,
But in any case, our office will look at it tomorrow.
mhm.
I
Right.
think the lady
All right.
there has a copy of the file one. But, Ms. Mayor, I'd like to comment. If I
Go
may.
ahead, Councilman Stevens.
I'd just like to say to your colleagues, Sportsman's Little League is a nonprofit. Sportsman's Little League at one time lost their nonprofit status. Sportsman's Little League could very well lose their nonprofit status again, and we would then have no one to go after in order to secure any money that was owed to us after BSI was then compensated for the money that is owed it by way of Sportsman's Little League. So as was stated very eloquently by my colleague, we should in fact make available $16,000 to make Rogers Park whole, although Rogers Park never should have been allowed. Rogers Park never should have been allowed to have a 3-foot, 2.5-foot trench dug around the mound and virtually hold the city hostage, because if the trench is not filled in, then someone may fall in and injure themselves for this money. It never should have happened from the beginning. What should have happened was any money that was left by Sportsman to spend at Rogers should have been spent at Darby to provide for the scoreboard or anything other incidentals that needed to be done. So this whole idea that, well, they moved over to Rogers Park and then they had a portion through Rogers Park and then they stopped, when there was still work left to be completed at Darby's Park, it doesn't make any sense to me, because that's either just poor management or just plain old-fashioned incompetence, because they should have finished what they were doing first and then moved on to the other project. And so I have an issue with that. I have an issue with the fact that Sportsman's Little League can very easily dissolve, and once it is dissolved, then who does the city go after? Indemnification or none. Who do we go after? We will have to make BSI whole. And there is a county seal on that document I'm seeing right there. So it was filed with the recorder. So gentlemen, I would like to let you know I've been to Mr. Bauer's facility. Mr. Bauer does work for the Rose Bowl, Home Depot Center, Compton College, and he is in good standing with all, as I checked. So many of the things that Sportsman's Little League informed me about Mr. Bauer was not true. Mr. Bauer is a very well-respected individual in the industry that he's in, and very, very, very successful. And he operates out of Compton, and he's quite successful. So I ask you again, colleagues, to reconsider your position, because the city, I believe, will be on the hook for compensating Mr. Bauer the money that he is owed. And that's all I have to say, gentlemen. I wish you would consider your position.
All right, thank you. You can have a seat.
All right, thank you.
Oh, so I guess we'd have to give equal time to anyone from Little League if they wanted to address their feeling on the dispute about the billing, since it's obviously a dispute.
How you doing? My name's Derek Brown, Sportsman Little League president. I just wanted to address Mr. Stevens on some of the things that you were saying about Mr. Bauer. I'm not going to sit up here and go back and forth one way or another. We started the Darby Park project. We were getting a lot of complaints from a couple of people on the council, and they wanted us to get Rogers Park going and get started. That's why we started the project. We were waiting on certain things, and permits from the city is why we didn't finish Darby Park. In the planning department, upstairs, down on the 6th floor, 5th floor, I don't know what floor it is. And that's why we didn't finish that project at Darby for that press box, because we have to have permits for the press box, the foul post, and the scoreboard before we can move forward. We were also doing the snack bar, and they put that on hold and took that off the agenda. And just to make reference to, you said Mr. Bauer is in such good standings with all those people that you named. You might want to check. He was terminated by Major League Baseball in Compton College. He was terminated as a subcontractor from Sarah High School. He was terminated from a job in Orange County because he didn't finish the work. So if you do your research, that $55,000 there, that's totally false. If you go through what we've paid him, go through the documents, it's right there, plain and simple. All those documents that he's presenting to you now are documents that's been remade. If you look at the original documents, I gave them to you. I gave you a book. I gave you 2 checks on the fencing contractor that equal $11,000. I told you had a balance of $2,900 there. I gave you the other checks from him for the grass work that he did, installation on the irrigation, all that. I gave you the $5,000. I gave you $3,800 check receipt, and I gave you $8,000, which equaled $21,800. Mr. Bauer has been paid. We don't have anything to do with what he does with his money once he's paid. Just like he owed Greenland Supplies. He's never paid the bill. Never. He owed him $2,200. He's never paid him. He owed Gale Supplies. He's never paid him. He came to the field. They were getting ready to put the grass down 2 days before. He needed another $1,345 that he didn't have, and I paid that for him so we can have the field ready for when we have Martin Luther King Day. Mr. Bauer is a liar. That's the bottom line.
Right, thank you. Okay, there's a motion on the floor, and who
Yes,
hasn't
to
spoken
release the
it?
75,000.
Right, to release.
I want to speak
Okay.
to, I want to speak to it. I want to speak to the motion.
You already did.
I spoke prior to. You spoke, remember?
Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, all right, go ahead, you're right.
First off, before I speak, who made the motion? Would you repeat it, please? So I know exactly what it is.
Motion to approve staff's report recommendation to adopt resolution authorizing the transfer of $75,000 being held in trust by the city to the Sportsman's Little League. That's the motion.
Okay. Can you start
So
my
can I
time,
call
please?
for the vote?
Thank you.
This is her time.
Actually,
We gonna do this dance.
I'm going to support the motion because obviously the homework wasn't done, and that's going to fall upon the head of the majority who voted to move forward in the first place, meaning that I don't agree with what's being said here, and I don't understand when this item is held over once or twice, and the reason it was held over was to get to the bottom of these things that we're still talking about tonight that we're not at the bottom of yet. That's what we said. Okay, there's outstanding, and we've had people coming here talking about being owed money. Let's look into it. They were supposed to meet with staff, the Little League, the vendors. Apparently, I get the impression you didn't meet with the vendors who would come here to tell us that they hadn't been paid, and I thought that was all going to be resolved. So we're kind of shooting from the hip here, and if this money comes back, this $55,000 to haunt us from the general fund, I'm going to point to the 3 people who made the decision to just move forward, like a freight train, because I think there's something wrong with this picture. Typically, we have in the past worked with nonprofits, provide certain services in certain timeframes, and it's always been very successful. This doesn't seem to be that way. And I'm very concerned about the liability, future liability to our taxpayers, that they may have to bear this burden, which is ridiculous. And when we hold something over, Mr. Fields, we ask staff to look into it, make sure you have all the invoices, canceled checks, you talk to the vendors. It's my assessment this evening that was not done, because we still have people coming here. And even after that, we have a mechanics lien that's been filed with the county on our property for $55,000. So anyway, I'm going to support this, releasing the funds to them. But the staff, Mr. Fields, I believe that your investigation on this has been sorely inadequate because we're still here asking questions. We still don't know what's happening. And we still believe, like I say, that this money, we may have to pay for it. I think you take the Parks and Recreation Commission, let them mull it over about how they're going to come up with the $55,000 when this comes down, because they don't have enough left. if truly this is a bill for 55,000, which we asked you to look into and have these meetings with the vendors who come here, which you didn't do, we would know how, if it's truly exactly 55 or somewhat less with interest, whatever. The point is, we would have a better feel for it. So I'm very disappointed that the background work was not done, because when this body decides to hold something over, we take it very seriously. We're very supportive of Sportsman's Little League. We're also very supportive of the contractors and vendors who do business within this city, and certainly those that do business and improve our facilities. So I think that it's given us a black eye here, and I'm very concerned about that, but I'm going to let it rest on the chair. Thank you.
Mayor?
Yeah,
Mayor?
on the chair.
Okay.
Mayor.
And Councilman
Yeah.
Franklin?
You know, I appreciate the public dialogue that's going on today, but when you don't get the whole piece, a whole slice, whole piece, whole pie, but it gets slices, it creates the wrong impression. And so I commend my staff for doing an outstanding job, as well as the city manager. And so the dialogue that is happening between Sportsman's Little League and the contractor is not the city. And so the mechanics lien specifically addresses Sportsman's Little League. And I've got confirmation from the city attorney that our legal obligation is to release those funds, and that's what we're prepared to do. I clearly understand when we do contracts for the city of Inglewood, our staff does their due diligence, and anytime there's an amendment to the agreement, there are change orders. And those change orders are signed off by the city before that contractor is allowed to make those amendments, particularly when it's going to, in this case, double the value of a contract. So we're not in that fight yet, but clearly we are moving forward tonight to make sure we get our parks up to par by relinquishing those funds. Thank you, Mayor.
I just got to say something real quick. I don't get this comment. You hold this to the chair. That is the craziest thing I've ever heard. Look, I'm one vote on this body, but I'm going to tell you this. You have a dispute between a vendor and the contractor. That was the Little League. They say that he was paid, and he says that he wasn't. It's a claim. It's not proven fact. This is a policy decision. To withhold the funds to do Rogers Park, I mean, you're making a policy decision that you're going to intervene in a claim so that you hope that someone has money around to pay the claim if they prevail in their lawsuit. So then we're deciding that Rogers Park, which is in another district, will just wait until this settles out. That's the policy decision that's before me. The reality is, no matter what we do, we're a party to that lien, if we go forward or if we don't. And so if our position is we want to wait until all this drags out legally and make sure that Sportsman has money in the bank that we are operating for them to pay us back, that's the policy decision. I'm not prepared to make the children of Rogers Park wait up to a year or more to see how this claim is resolved. I don't think that's fair. That's my position. So, Madam City Clerk, did you have any comments?
I just wanted to say, just to go in line with that, that's exactly why there's a legal process. I mean, we don't know what kind of agreements happened out there. We've heard both sides. We don't know how accurate either one is. But the decision we're making, going back to original, what we're doing is we're transferring the funds and making sure that our parks get done. That's all we can do here today. So those are my comments. I mean, it's been characterized differently, but.
Madam City Clerk.
Councilmember Stevens,
Abstain.
Dunlap.
Actually, Mayor, my motion was to do Rogers Park, was to take care of Rogers Park. I want to clear up your statement saying that we were going to neglect it. I said complete it. Aye.
Dunlap.
She said aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
And before the comment, it was to not do it in its totality. It was to just fill the trench, that portion. It was $16,000. I did hear you. I want to say that. I want to see the project done in completion for those children.
That's what it says here,
Aye.
16,000 completes
you.
it.
Aye.
That's what it says in the staff report, Mayor. That's what it says.
Public comment. Any persons wishing to address the city council on any matter connected with city business not elsewhere considered on the agenda may do so at this time.
Good evening, the councilmen and city councilwoman, as well as the mayor. My name is Derek Steele. I'm here on behalf of the Citizens for Inglewood Excellent Education. I'm here to speak with you about Measure GG, a $90 million bond to improve Inglewood school facilities. This includes fixing leaky roofs, improving classrooms and bathrooms, upgrading technology and electrical systems to improve sustainability, and even adding solar panels on some of the campuses. Enrollment is going down, and the failing facilities is a major part of the problem. There are campuses like Inglewood High School that haven't gotten more than a paint job in more than 25 years. Morningside High School had a state-of-the-art electrical system in 1947. It's 2012. There's a citizen oversight committee that has a say in what projects get green-lighted. This money is not going to teachers. It's not going to the general fund. It's specifically to improve the facilities in the district. The forum is being upgraded. We have the Hollywood Park project coming. The mayor wants a 21st century destination city, and I believe that cannot happen without a 21st century school system. The new state administrator, the state superintendent, Senator Rod Wright, Assemblyman Bradford, council members Franklin and Morales, and hundreds of community members have endorsed this measure. Some of you are not, but I hope you vote yes with us. These current students and recent graduates and community members have something to say about it, and I hope what they say moves you to understand why this is important and why it needs to move forward. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Dylan Gray. I attend Morningside High School. I'm a junior there, and I'm also an explorer. I'm in the Explorer program with the fire department. Well, being an explorer, I want to talk about the health and safety. So there's rust and sludge on our water fountains. So if we press, when water comes out, the water is discolored with brown. Our bathrooms are filthy, and even today I went to the bathroom and a urinal was missing. So which is evidence that our facilities need to be upgraded. Personally, I don't even drink from the water fountain because of what comes out of it. And so even though I cannot vote, I would want you guys to vote yes on Measure GG. And I would like the students who go to the school in the Inglewood Unified School District to be in a healthy and safe environment. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sherman Stacy, and I attend Morningside High School. Morningside High School has many problems. For example, some of our classrooms don't have a class set of books, and they're old books. So if we have a class set, they're in old condition. And our air conditioner works when it wants to, so when it's hot outside, it's really cold in the classroom, and when it's cold outside, it's really hot in the classroom. And even though I can't vote, I would want you all to vote yes on Measure GG. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. I'm Terrell Lewis. I attend Morningside High School. I'm a junior, and I would like to speak upon our learning environment inside of Morningside High School. For my experience in classrooms of Morningside High School, is like when I'm in the class, I feel like I'm really in a jail cell because there's bars on our windows are blacked out, our desk is rigid and broke, and I don't feel like I have a good learning environment there. It's hard to focus when it's like, it feels like a prison. So I feel like if you guys could help us vote yes on Measure GG, it would really be a big improvement on our school. Thank you.
Hello and good evening. I am Osiris Wilton. I am a senior attending Morningside High School, and I am a part of the Black Male Youth Academy, as some of my fellow classmates, so to say. In our school, it is known that either our textbooks are out of date or we do not have enough for our children to take home to study with. To add to that, we are losing a few of our science and math teachers. Now, because of this, my bad.
No problem.
It would be,
I didn't get none of that. Because I ain't get none.
I apologize.
No problem. Take your time.
I am very nervous.
No problem.
Extremely nervous. Okay. with this. I'm gonna go back a sentence back, please. So, to add to that, we have lost quite a few of our math and science teachers. We are now unable to learn properly. But with Metro GG, we will be able to up our textbooks, and this will assist our STEM program in school. With this assistance, enrollment might increase, and we may be able to get our teachers back, and I will be able to continue pursuing a career in science or mathematics. Thank you.
No problem.
Well, hello and good afternoon, council and audience. My name is Tykeem Brown. I am alumni of the Black Men Youth Academy and alumni of Morningside High School. Currently, we've been working, and me and one of my friends, or whatever you're gonna call him, Evan, we've been volunteering on the measure, and we've been going to like the 22 schools in Inglewood, and compared to like La Tierra or Crozier, you know, who's currently been upgraded, Morningside does not really look that good, or Inglewood, or you know, the rest of the schools. We, from you know, like Dylan said, we feel that the schools really do need to be upgraded. Seriously, nobody drinks from the water fountain, and that's kind of really sad. So from what my friends been saying, we would really like you guys to vote yes on Measure GG, and thank you for your time.
Okay, we're going to have one more comment, then we're going to close public comment. All right.
Hi, I'm Evan Johnson. I'm also a graduate of Morningside High School. As you can see, me and my friends, we all came here to make sure people vote yes for Measure GG. It's very important for us. As you can see, we all came here to talk. These boys, they came and vote, but they still had the courage to come in here and tell people that this is very important to us. We really want to push forward for this because our education is very important to our lives. Also, even though they can't vote, I'm going to be that person to vote for them. And also, I want everybody else to follow the same lead. But thank you for your time. Vote yes for GG.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to close public comment.
Mayor, excuse me, why are you not permitting any other people to
No,
speak?
he said he was the last one. He said he was the last
all
one.
right.
Thank you. We'll close public comment, and we'll wait 2 minutes for adjournment.
No, you need to adjourn. Why are we waiting?
Oh, to start city council. Okay, we'll adjourn the meeting, and we'll reconvene in 2 minutes for 7 o'clock city council.